Now that you know what it takes to stabilize the victim of a head, neck, or back injury, it's time to move on to the next phase of the rescue, removing the victim from the water so you can provide any emergency care that might be necessary.
You know how important it is to minimize movement, so obviously you can't just pull the victim out of the water and toss him on the deck. You have to stabilize the entire body before you can lift him out of the water. To accomplish this, we use a piece of equipment called a backboard.
Some of the steps vary depending on which technique you use to provide inline stabilization in the water. We'll show you how to manage each one. First, we'll look at how to use a backboard in shallow water.
If you have used the head splint technique on a victim in shallow water, turn him over to a face-up position and provide manual inline stabilization until another lifeguard arrives with a backboard. Lifeguard 2 enters the water, submerges the backboard, and positions it under the victim so that it extends slightly beyond the victim's head. As Lifeguard 2 raises the backboard into place, Lifeguard 1 continues to apply pressure with both arms while moving her elbow from under the victim toward the top of the backboard. Lifeguard 2 then takes over inline stabilization using the head and chin support. Place one arm on the victim's chest and grasp the chin. Place the other hand and arm under the backboard for support.
Once Lifeguard 2 is in position, Lifeguard 1 releases the head splint and lowers the victim's arms. She then retrieves the rescue tube and places it under the head of the backboard. Lifeguard 1 supports the backboard with her forearms and again takes control of inline stabilization by placing her hands along each side of the victim's head. Lifeguard 2 is now free to secure the victim to the backboard with at least 3 straps. Place one strap high across the victim's chest and under the armpits. Place the victim's arms and hands underneath the neck strap as you secure it across the hips. Place the last strap across the thighs. Recheck each strap to be sure they are secure. Next, secure the victim's head to the backboard using a head immobilizer. Place the strap low across the victim's forehead. With one lifeguard on each side, lift the head of the backboard and set it on the edge of the gutter or the edge of the pool deck. Use 1 or 2 rescue tubes to support the foot of the board. One lifeguard gets out of the pool while the other maintains control of the backboard. The lifeguard on deck holds the head of the backboard while the other lifeguard gets out.
Together, both lifeguards step backward and pull the backboard, sliding it smoothly up over the edge and lowering it gently to the deck. Always lift with your knees, not your back. Provide emergency care as needed until EMS personnel arrive and take over.
If you are stabilizing a victim using the head and chin support in shallow water, provide manual inline stabilization until another lifeguard arrives with a backboard and positions it under the victim. As the backboard is raised into place, carefully remove your other arm from under the victim's head and place it under the backboard to provide support from below. Once the backboard is in place, Lifeguard 2 places a rescue tube under the head of the backboard and supports the backboard with his forearms. Lifeguard 2 then takes over inline stabilization by placing one hand along each side of the victim's head. Both lifeguards continue working together to secure the victim to the backboard, immobilize the head, and remove the victim from the water, as previously demonstrated.